Good afternoon. Welcome to Touring Into Your Show for news, information, and more. For the September the 8th, 2023. Hi, I'm your host, Gregory T. Roberts. Welcome to the show. Before I get my assistant, my homeboy on, I want to say congratulations to the Mesquite Fire Department. 150 years of service. Thank you guys for what you do. I look forward to tomorrow. It's a parade at 11 o'clock. You be there. And the host with the most, put your hands together for Pastor Melvin Burns II. Clap your hands, please, everybody. Clap your hands.
Myself. Hey, my brother, how are you?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm good, brother. It's good to be back after a couple of weeks away. I missed you. Looking forward to the show today.
Okay, people, what we need you to do, we got a very interesting show today. Go to the WVS 103.7 site or go to the M106 site and you can ask questions to our guests. You can share this show, and if you are driving and would like to see the show, all our shows repeat, and so you are able to watch it. Would like to say hello to my sister in Ohio. How you doing, sister? Thank you for listening and watching. Okay, Pastor Burns, other than people share this message, what's our weather look like?
Okay, we have not too bad a weekend today. 50% chance of rain, high of 70, low of 57. Tomorrow, low 51, high of 74, but a sunny day. And Sunday, again, partly cloudy, high of 75, low of 53. So good weekend to get out and get some of those pre-fall activities done.
Okay. When did you say that there were chances of rain? I think
Not
Monday.
till Monday. So you got a clear weekend.
Okay.
Monday and Tuesday, over 50, 60% chance of rain. So take advantage of the weekend.
Okay. Our guest today, I'm really happy that a community leader reached out to us, and we wanted to talk to this guy for a long time. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's go to Houston, Texas, and get him on real quick. Go ahead, Pastor Burns.
Hey, Mr. Smith. Yes, I did. It's good seeing you, my brother.
Okay. All right. All right. So we got Ohio, we got Houston, Texas already. Our guest today, very special guest. As you know, for us people that graduate from Muskegon High School, we bleed red. I mean, we bleed red. And it's an honor and a pleasure to get the guy that is the superintendent of Muskegon Public Schools, a first-time guest to the show. Put your hands together. The eagle flies on Friday. So we are blessed to be with this man. Put your hands together for Matthew Cortez. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you doing, Mr. Roberts?
I'm doing really good. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. I know it's, in my opinion, it's long overdue. I just think it was getting our two schedules in sync. It really helped us out, I think.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on, and this is something we should do more regularly.
Yeah. Yep. You have an invitation to be on anytime. First of all, I have to say, Class 83, we were at Muskegon Public Schools and took tours last week. I must say, you guys are doing an outstanding job. Pastor Burns, I'll give you this. Remember the old days when you went, depending, you dressed on what side of the school you were on?
Uh-huh.
I mean, some it was hot and some it was cold. I was amazed that each teacher now can put in their own temperature of their room. It was amazing. So, Mr. Cortez, the city of Muskegon, the Muskegon Public School, we gave you guys, I believe, $110 million.
Yeah, it was 105. Yep.
Okay, to take care of a lot of stuff, and let's go through some of the things that you've done.
Well, I mean, when you look at the total renovation of each of the buildings that we have, so you talk about air conditioning and heating controls. You talk about lighting. You talk about we built a new auxiliary gym. We updated the entire stadium. We are building a $35+ million centralized middle school on a tract of land that was donated through Mercy Hackley Hospital before they became Trinity. What a tremendous gift that was. So our middle school campus and our high school campus are basically 3 blocks from each other now.
Okay.
That school is going to open in the fall of 24. It has been and continues to be a huge pride point for all of our district, and we're really looking forward to being able to debut this building in the late spring, get some public tours through it, get our kids through it, let our kids see it. One of the coolest parts of this was we started a new class at the middle school last year called Design Thinking. And I went into the class 4 different times, so every card marking, the students change. So I went into the class 4 times and I challenged the students to do a design in the school. Once they did that design, I came back and they presented the designs to us. And then we took what they did and we've incorporated it into what we're doing at that middle school. So when we take the kids through, kids are going to look around and be like, I said to put that in the weight room, or I said to do this in the library. This is all about our kids. Our community is 100% behind our district. Every neighborhood voted 2-1 for both bond issues. It was an amazing statement. And I just, we have the promises made, promises kept, promises expanded campaign. And it's something we pride ourselves on. Aside from high school, we're at the tail end of all of the work at Bunker Elementary School. So, and right now we have where Marquette is and where Oakview is, we actually moved them. And Oakview is operating out of Moon School this year.
Right.
And Marquette is operating out of Nelson, because now we are going through those 2 schools this entire year and getting them ready for a fall debut as well.
The work has been amazing. Pastor Burns.
Oh, exciting times. So as this process is going on, have you had to make any changes from the time you started with, things change all the time. Have you had to make any major changes from the original design concept?
We've had to take some different changes in different avenues, but nothing major has changed. One of the things that's really happened is COVID, right? Because we elected this in May of 20. We had just gone into COVID. And you guys know about like supply chains, you guys know about price increases, things like that. Well, we've had projects have taken a little longer because of supply, obviously, but the price thing was the part that I was the most worried about. But the COVID funding that the federal government gave us actually enabled us to almost 100% stay true to what we promised originally. Right now, what we're doing is we're looking at Glenside Elementary School. That was part of the bond. It was designed to be the TWE building, which is our 2-way immersion program. And we're looking at that and we're getting ready. That's probably going to be the last building that we enter into. And the board has to make that decision. We have set the funding aside. We want to make sure that we can't fit the program in another building somewhere. But what we have is we have an explosion. You guys hear the state pushing for free preschool. And when we push for free preschool, we're going to need more ground room floors, which means Glenside with TWE is probably going to become a reality because we need those ground floor classrooms because, preschool kids have to stay on the first floor for their main classes.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Talk to us a little bit about the importance of taking the tour. Mr. Curjo, by the way, did an excellent job. There was a controversial issue about the bathrooms.
Yes.
And he took the time to explain it. And once he explained it, it made a whole lot of sense. Talk
Yeah.
about that issue.
So what we did with the bathrooms is basically historically, I mean, even when you guys were in school and when I was in school, where did all the cool things happen as a kid?
In the
They happened
bathrooms.
where adults weren't at, right? So they're in the
Yeah.
bathrooms. So essentially what we've done is we've designed a bathroom that the sink area is open to the hallway and actually can be monitored by a camera. And then you have single individual bathroom stalls lying in it that is a completely separate room. And it doesn't matter. We can call them restrooms. You don't have to identify yourself as male or female or anything of that nature. So it relaxes some of the pressure on our kids. I have students that before this bond and when I'm talking to them, because at the middle school and high school, I eat lunch with a group of students once a month. And we talk about issues, and there's kids that would not go to the bathroom at the high school. And it's not because they had to necessarily choose a male or female bathroom, but they don't want to go in number 2. And then, you're in a stall and you get embarrassed, things of that nature. This is solved. I mean, this is very private quarters they can go into. It goes all the way up to the ceiling with brick walls. And it's just, it really respects the privacy that our generation, especially this generation, my son's in 10th grade or 11th grade this year at the high school. The privacy that they seek and they want is much different than our generations.
And let's face it, this generation, like you said, the privacy issues, because there were actually kids going home because they did not want to go to the bathroom.
Correct.
They were going home.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's ever, I don't want to say the movie, but American Pie, there's a young man in there that will not use the bathroom in the high school, and he always goes home when he has to go number 2, right?
Right.
It's funny in the movie, but we have kids that are living that.
Yeah.
And we have to combat that. That is not a healthy habit.
We used to sneak into a teacher's lounge in the basement. One of the teacher's bathrooms in the basement.
Yep. Or you'd ask a teacher, can I borrow the staff key? And
Yeah.
they know what that's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And thanks for explaining that, because again, when people look at how we went to the bathroom at school, it looks archaic and ridiculous when you think about it.
Correct.
And it's I think it's a very good way to solve an issue without taking anybody on an
Well, another example, shower stalls, right? So in my new middle school, I'm going to have shower stalls,
Yeah.
but I have stalls. I don't have a shower room.
Yeah.
There's like 3 individual shower stalls that kids can use.
Yeah.
That is completely private. They have a curtain, they can close everything. So again, it's that privacy.
From Ohio, carry poo spray. Jeepers creepers. Way to go, sis. All right. Okay, so the stalls were an issue.
Yes.
Another issue was why not keep still? Why build a new middle school?
When we went around, I was able to get through probably half of the neighborhoods before COVID hit and talking with them. And then we also had other work that was done before I got here, because I arrived in August of 19. And they had done some preliminary work in the 18-19 school year, surveying and talking to people. One of the huge things that people talked about is they talked about, if we're going to have one middle school, we would like it centralized. So that people from the West and people from the East are kind of equidistant going to it. So it's welcoming for everybody. The other thing they said is we want as many local elementaries as we can support. So we want our neighborhood elementary schools as much to the possibility as we can get. And then we would like to centralize the middle school because it was very successful having a centralized high school. And so we really listened to that. And then, Roger Allure, who's the president of the hospital, called me over to his office. I was probably, he said, come on over, and I want to talk to you. So I went over there. I was 2 months on the job. I was like, man, did I already mess up? Like, am I in trouble with the big wigs, And he sat me down and he offered the 15 acres. And I almost fell out of the chair. And I said, I'm thrilled and I'm honored, but I can't afford to take that building down. And he said, no, we'll take it down. We'll give you flat land. It cost him $9 million at least to give us flat land.
So, Muskegon, you hear that, okay, because a lot of people were wondering why do we have only one hospital? It was not Muskegon Public Schools looking to tear down Hackley School. This was land given to you.
Correct. It was actually gifted to us. We're actually putting up a monument on the middle school property made out of bricks from Hackley Mercy Hospital, and it's going to have a dedication plaque in it right in front of the school. It's going to be an obelisk, not as tall as George Washington's in Washington, D.C., but it'll be noticeable. And it's going to be made out of bricks that we saved from Hackley Mercy Hospital.
Pastor Burns.
So and that's so many exciting things happening in the structures and foundations. Talk to us about some of the things happening, exciting things going on inside the school walls these days.
Oh my gosh, there is so much going on, and it's tremendous. The look on kids' faces when they walk into a room that looks brand new with all new furniture, something they've never experienced before, is just amazing. The change in the environment, people don't really understand until they live it, the difference between what you were talking about with just temperature in the classroom, right? Because it's one less battle. We're also reinventing 6 through 12 education right now. The reason that we're reinventing it is we want to help students decide, what do you want to do with the rest of your life, and give them the experience. When you and I grew up, we had experience. We had shop class, we had woods, we had all these other experiences. Plus our parents would be, some of our parents, a lot of them were journeymen or they were laborers and things like that. My dad was a truck driver. So we learned about all the different avenues that you could be. Our kids today, they don't have that same exposure. And so we're creating an academy system at our high school. And the freshman academy is going to be for people entering the school, obviously, 9th grade. Then for 10th through 12th grade, our students will choose between 3 academies. There's going to be health and human services. There's going to be business, entrepreneurship, leadership. And then there's going to be STEAM, which is the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So that STEAM at the high school is going to be fed because every one of our new elementaries, and Bunker's the first to debut it, it's on debut right now, it's being used since halfway through last year, is the first one to have their STEAM lab in place and functioning. When we go back to Marquette and we go back to Oakview, they are going to have brand new STEAM labs as well that are going to be used by kids every single day. And we're going to bring that up and support it at the middle school. And there's a little bit of a wish we have there around a 6 through 10 career education facility that I'm trying to get built through grants between the state and the feds. And it would be on the middle school property, which would give them the exposure that we used to get in school, where they could actually try welding, where they could actually try building something out of wood or carpentry. Our students, tremendously talented, and we have to support them in what they want to use their talents to do in life. Because right now, when you look at, like, traditionally, you look back the past 10 years, let's say, when I came here, our freshman class, we had about a 45% uptick rate to 10th grade. So 40 or 45% of our freshmen would make enough credits to go into being a sophomore their second year. Our freshman academy has been in place now for 2 years. This is the 3rd year of the freshman academy. It went to 85% the first year, and we were above 90% last year. That is game changing. Our high school was a 850 student high school when I came here, and there was 450 freshmen. That's backwards. You should be more evenly spaced out. Now we're over 1,000 students at the high school. Our high school has grown tremendously, and we have kids moving forward. Because the secret is, if you can get a student out of 9th grade, in 10th grade, they must mature over that summer quite a bit, because now they can see the light, right? Now they can see the graduation stage in front of them, and now they start to self-direct themselves. And then we just advise them as they go.
let's go to the board. Question to you, Pastor Burns.
This from Jack Page. So glad that the middle school moved. Our students would have had to ride an hour and a half each way. Being as far west as possible, it was a huge consideration of where to send them.
And that's something that we did here, traditionally in the city, because of where Bunker was at when Bunker was a middle school and where Steele was at when it was a middle school, there was this rivalry, right? East-West rivalry.
Yeah, buddy.
We have to get past that because I can't have two middle schools anymore. I don't have enough kids.
Yeah.
So, we have to get them to come together better. And there's nothing better than having them centrally located. That is a huge advantage for us. Not to mention, think about your middle school and your high school being 3 blocks apart. So now I have kids in the middle school that say, hey, I want to go faster than normal, and I want to take early courses at the high school as an 8th grader. It's 3 blocks.
Okay.
Now we can do that, where before it was like, okay, how are we going to arrange a bus and stuff like that? So what I picture as maybe somebody can donate some Disney carts, like, those carts that people pile on and drive around Disney. Mm-hmm. And we could run those between the 2 schools. That's how close they are. Okay. It saves the district money too. We didn't need to build a new auditorium in the new middle school because we have the small auditorium, the small theater, and the regular auditorium that we've already restored at the high school. So now we can take those 2 places and keep them up to date and to the 21st century standard. So we're showing our kids what is out there when they go out and try and seek employment in a theater or as an actor or stuff of that nature.
Now, one of the questions, will there be a pool at the middle school?
There is not a pool at the middle school. There is a pool at the high school still, and it is getting refurbished with all of its mechanicals and pipes. And the inside is getting refurbished as well of the actual pool, aquadome, I guess you would call it.
Mm-hmm. With that said, now, because our kids are, if you look at the drowning statistics,
yes,
a lot of Muskegon Heights kids, we really need to teach them how to swim. I mean,
yep, we do.
And I don't see, do you see that opportunity happening with the kids from Muskegon?
1,000%. And here's why. We bus every 3rd grader in our district over to the high school pool, and they learn how to swim. It's like a 2-week unit. Mm-hmm. We not only do it for our kids, we host it for all the kids in the county that want to go. And so school districts also use that same program that we use. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Like, it is a huge, huge statistic. So in 3rd grade, we get them set and basic life skills, right? About how to float, how not to be scared of the water, how not to panic, things of that nature. Then when they get up to the high school, it's a mandatory thing for them to take swimming and to pass swimming. Mm-hmm. And we integrate it into what we call 9th grade PE. So by the time they're in 9th grade, we've reissued those swimming ideals for them that they saw in 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. Ideally, if we do have the ability and we have to work this out, I want to see, could we do it more at the middle school? Could we offer a swimming class at the middle school that the kids would just go over to the high school for the class and take the class there? Mm-hmm. I can't guarantee it, but those are things that I'm very concerned about. My son's a perfect example. My son really became a good swimmer in 9th grade. Previous to that, he could swim, he could live, but he didn't enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. And he learned how to enjoy it. And that's what we have to do. So many of our kids haven't even seen Michigan. We have a number of students in our school district that have never even seen Lake Michigan. That's shameful, really, to tell you the truth. With the lake so close, it's a 10-minute drive. Mm-hmm. We have to start getting these core experiences back for all of our kids. And that is a huge concentration that we're looking at building under the direction of the board, because the board's like, these core experiences are essential. Did you guys go to an outdoor ed program where you stayed overnight, like in 3rd or 4th grade or 5th grade or something like that? Mm-hmm. That's like essential, right? Like, that's a program that teaches you You don't always have to have mom and dad with you, and you can be with a group of kids and do constructive things and learn a whole bunch at a camp away from, and in nature.
Mhm.
Those core experiences help people become better, well-rounded adults. And we need to start bringing them back into our district, because somewhere along the way, I think it was probably a fiscal decision, but somewhere along the way, we lost track of that. Now we have to start getting this back.
What about, like you said, your son is a good swimmer now.
Yes.
We don't have a swim team, but there's a swim people that rent the pool there. The Muskegon kids are not allowed to be on that team.
Well, what it is there's a swimming collaboration that is using the pool.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had students that have expressed interest in being on a swim team since I've been here. I think that we could encourage kids to join, and then we would look at that collaboration and say, you need to let us be part of this, and we're going to have to figure out a way forward.
Okay.
Because, our kids deserve everything. It's just like with tennis, right? We don't have any tennis teams, but we have to look at, what do our kids really want to do, and how do we support them in doing that? The new field that we're putting in at the middle school, it's an artificial turf field, just like Hackley, but it's going to have soccer on it, it's going to have football on it, and it's going to be lined for lacrosse. So if we ever want to open lacrosse teams, we have the field already in place to do that. That's the future thinking that we're trying desperately to put into the plans that we're doing.
Will the steel property still be used as a track or no?
No, the track is actually going to be at the new middle school. So the track and field and the new field are going to sit actually right where Hackley Hospital used to sit. That's going to be the field, and there's going to be it's called a broke D track. It's a track that can contain a soccer field inside. And it's amazing because it's 35 feet from the cafeteria windows.
Wow.
The track will be. You will stand in the cafeteria in front of 25-foot wall of glass, and you have a bridge that bridges over for second floor, and you can look out and you can see the entire middle school stadium track and field. It is a gorgeous thing. I have to take you guys through it. You have to just take your breath away.
Definitely. Now, so the steel property will no longer exist or be sold off?
Well, what we did is we were responsible when we did the bond. So any buildings that we were moving away from, we built into the bond to do what I call repurpose to flat land. So that means like return it to a natural state, right? So what we're finding is because of the huge housing crisis that is taking place in our city, that we have corporations that are talking to us in the city, talking to us about how can we work with you so that we don't destroy these structures and we can turn them and convert them like they do in other places into housing units, apartments, condominiums, whatever we can in order to support our citizens more and in order to alleviate this housing crisis. So that's been a huge concentration for us lately. And we've got some strong partners around Steele and around Nelson. We really do. I am very excited about it because as a kid, that's the one thing. I grew up poor. I grew up I was the youngest of 8 kids. My dad was a truck driver. We didn't have a whole lot of money, but I always knew where I was putting my head at night. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine that as a child, not knowing where you're going to put your head at night. So we need to help this housing crisis. We have a responsibility as a district. When I talked about the pillars of what our community is. Our school district, we are returning as one of those main pillars because I think for a while we weren't living up to what our responsibilities were. We are now living up to those responsibilities.
Question, Pastor Burns.
That's the same comment as before.
Okay.
So
there we go.
Okay, from Jack Page again. Any talk of bringing driver's training back to the school level? After it was removed, I saw a huge difference in driving habits and not for the better. And I'm going to agree with you.
Well, having a 16-year-old that we just put through the driver's program, There are a couple challenges with it. I did get a couple of people trained in it, trained in driver's ed programming. Paul Kurgel's one of them, that he could actually teach it. The challenge we run into is this: the vehicles are a huge leap. It used to be that you would get vehicles donated by the local dealership or whatever that had the 2 pedals and stuff like that. That's really started to go away because companies are now doing it for profit, right?
Right.
So now the dealerships. So there's that hurdle. The other hurdle is the amount of driver's education that it takes. You can't just get it done in a summer like me and you used to do.
Yeah.
It takes about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
At least 1.5 years. And that's a difficult way to do it as a school district because you're going to have to try and track those hours and everything. And these driving schools now, they have apps on phones. So when my son gets his driving hours, he has to click the app on his phone, and then he starts driving. And when we're done, he clicks it off. And I'm like, what happened to pencil and paper, man?
Yeah.
But the driving laws are helping us though, because like if my son got his license right now, he's almost there. From 16 to 18, I think there's time limits, and you're only allowed 1 friend in the car.
Yeah.
Like they've changed the law so much just because of that teenage driving tragedies that we knew about.
Okay, Mr. Cortez, we're going to switch hats.
Okay.
As you know, I am a big band geek.
Yes,
big
sir.
Band alumni. Our numbers are down, and my question is, what I know COVID hurt, but our numbers are down to like 33 marching. What is going on?
Well, I think that there was a perfect storm. Okay. And when you change leadership over in a program, you're always going to have this part where the new leadership has to come in and kind of restock the program and rebuild the program. So one of the things that we're doing as a district is we're really wrapping our arms around the band as much as we can. We have a new director. She is a tremendous teacher. Her name is Hope Spilla, and she's been doing a great job. I know that people look at the band and they're like, we used to fill the field and this and that. A couple of things are at play here. Your memory is of a district that's probably 9 or 10 or 12,000 students. We're 3,300. We're 1/3 the size, barely, probably even 1/4 the size, to tell you the truth. And so that has an effect. We have a strong band program at the middle school that I think is going to feed the program up into the high school over the next few years. So we had a lot of kids that had graduated in the last 2 years that were part of our marching band. So our marching band is kind of young when you take a look at the number of players and the number of kids getting involved. The other thing is people get nervous about new people coming in. Like, what's the new director going to be like? So once she establishes herself, and she's doing a great job of that, those relationships can start to get built, and then kids can start to migrate back into the program. I am 100% confident that we are going to have a program that is going to be growing in the next year, 2 years, and hopefully surpassing where we were pre-COVID.
Now, do kids still get a grade for marching band, a credit
Yes.
for marching band?
So,
Okay.
and I want to dispel this rumor really quick.
Thank you.
Last year, our former leader, they separated marching band from the band class and made it an after-school activity. We didn't realize that was happening. Once we realized that happened, that was unacceptable. So the way that we set it up is that in the fall, everybody's together at the high school level, and it's called marching band. And when you do that, so you do all of your events in the fall, your parades, your homecoming, your football games, all of that. When we change over to second semester after the holidays, that's where they break into like 3 different bands, like concert band and all of that. And then they have the concerts and everything. My prediction is, I know our band looks small right now, and I'm talking with my principal and with some other people in the department, I think our winter program is going to be more kids, because I think they're going to start to feel that draw back into it. And I think that's going to help us build the program stronger. We're also doing a lot of things to help Hope create those special relationships, and those relationships with kids that are very interested in it. We've restructured some of the way that we pay the salaries. And, so we're hoping that causes much more longevity for us.
Okay.
You can't be switching your band director every 7 or 8 years, because you need that consistency, right?
Right.
This is how much our alumni is for it. Right after COVID, we got a donation from the class of 1945 of over $400,000 to bring instrumental music back into 5th grade in the elementary schools. And we are starting that this year.
Okay.
We piloted a little bit last year. So this year we actually have some musical instrument classes as part of the elementary school. And then we have a very strong after-school program. And we're partnering with the Muskegon Symphony Orchestra. We're partnering also with the teachers at the middle school and the high school in order to get that exposure to those instruments at 5th grade, so we can feed that program moving forward.
Now, a lot of people have asked this question. Is hey, my wife, Emily. Let's go to question to you. Core music programs, better academic results. Boom. Because if we look at the top 10 every year, they're usually out of the band or orchestra or the arts.
Right. So what happens is that the thinking behind that, and it's 100% true. This is why we also have the two-way immersion program at the elementary school. When you do things with fine arts like band and art and all these other things, or you're doing specialized languages and learning other languages, you're using both your left and right side of your brain. And when you do that, you become more intelligent because you're using more of your brain. And that's why you see the excel of people going forward that are part of band, music, orchestra, fine arts. You can also see that in athletes. When athletes just don't learn about the sport, but when we do what we do with our athletes, which is we train them how to be healthy living, how to, not just how to do the weightlifting and the conditioning and everything, but why, and how does that affect your body? It's not just about the physical, the physical movement. We educate them hopefully for a lifetime of activity, because we don't want them to just walk away from high school and get fat like I did.
Tell me about it, brother. Now, one thing, another question is that a lot of people say that Muskegon is all about sports. It's all about football. It's not about academics. You've already talked about a lot of things that are going on. Dispel that myth.
I will dispel that myth in one simple thing, and I have all the data to prove it. When we did the bonds, proposal 1 was everything academic that our buildings needed. Proposal 2 was everything that was non-academic or after school, like the band, like the football, the sports, stuff like that. My board actively said, and we portrayed, if proposal 1 does not pass, we will not activate proposal 2.
True.
And both of those proposals both got 66% of the vote. So that tells you right there. The academic part is huge. I heard that same myth when I came here, and people are like, you have to find out, what's the secret formula? And I'm not going to claim that I broke the secret formula open about how our athletics are so successful for so long. But I can tell you this, if everyone in our district is able to build relationships the way our coaches do and the way that our tremendous teaching staff does, we are going to excel at everything that our district does. I guarantee it.
That's Burns.
You came in 2019. Talk for a minute about just, you came and then you brought COVID with you shortly after that.
I didn't bring it with me, man. I wasn't over in Wu-Tang, China, but
here we are 2023, and Are we still seeing the effects and how we had to transition out of that 2-year period to where we are today?
Well, I'm going to address it in a couple of ways. First of all, when COVID hit in March 13th of 2020, I used every bit of the previous 5 years of experience that I had as a superintendent in order to get us through that. And I thank God every day that I was not a quote unquote brand new superintendent. I can tell you that, because it would have been impossible. COVID has changed something in our society. I can't put my finger on it. But when you think about patience, when you think about the road rage incidents that we see nowadays, when you think about presumption of good, you know, and I preach this with my staff a lot. And even when we sat down at the bargaining table, I said, one of the core things that I believe in is I always presume nobody's out to get me. Nobody wakes up and says, hey, I'm going to go mess with Cortez today, right? Nobody has that. So we have to presume what people are doing is what they think is best for them, their family, or the community even. And so when you look at it like that, you can start to see that there's a kernel of truth in everything, right? COVID affected that in a lot of people, and it separated people for a length of time to where you were alone and you didn't have that group of friends, and kids are always talking through cell phones and everything during COVID. As we come back, there are educational gaps that our kids are suffering from. And it's not just in Muskegon. It's across the entire nation, I guarantee it.
Right.
So, you know, I think back, I'm a former math teacher. And, you know, I used to tell my kids, I said, if you had one math teacher that was bad, so let's say you're in algebra and you don't have a good algebra teacher, and you go and you get out of algebra and you go to geometry, it takes you 2 years to make up that deficit from that algebra, that 1 year experience. Statistically, and research has shown, if you have 2 bad years in a row, you never make that deficit up. Ever. We had 2 bad years in a row with COVID. That's a problem. And that's what we really are concentrating on. And that's one of the reasons, like, we're looking at simple things like bathrooms, right? We're looking at simple things like, how do we give our students choice and allow them to drive us forward? Because we don't know the effect it's had on all of our kids yet. I might know it for my son, but I don't know it for all the kids in the district. So we have to listen to what they're telling us and what they're showing us and adjust from that. I just, you know, I am thankful that our community was as strong as it was going through COVID. You know, one of the things that I said about the election, because the election was in May of 20, and a lot of people took their ballots off. And I said, I'm not taking my ballot off. And they said, why? And I said, 1, I never give up on hope. And 2, this will pass. And we will need to be ready on the other side to give these kids the education they deserve. And look where we're sitting now.
Our board is flying. Okay, so we got to go through some questions. Pastor Burns.
From WVS 103.7 The Beat. Will any new programs be introduced regarding nutrition and food?
Correct. So we have programs in nutrition and food now, and we are going to be introducing stronger ones at the middle school level, because if you think about it, the middle school is going to be located right next to those gardens. And so we're going to look at some collaboration there. One of the things that we're really trying to tap into as we move forward is, what are we doing with our food service, and how are we getting kids healthier food and more exposure to food that maybe the first time they're going to say, I'm not going to eat that. And the second time they didn't really like it, but then the third time they're like, hey, it's pretty good. We have to get them to taste other things. They can't just eat chicken nuggets and pizza, right? We have to make sure that they're exposed to different things. And that's one of the key things that we're doing moving forward.
Okay, so we got more questions here. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that's Corinne Taylor.
All right.
What do bathrooms have to do with mental health and creating healthy relationships between students and teachers?
Well, what I can say is that from a mental standpoint, there's a lot that a bathroom offers, right? whatever's distracting you in a classroom affects your relationship with the teacher. What if it's hunger? What if it's, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight? Like, those are huge things, right? Maslow talks about it, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mhm.
If you're worried about, am I going to be able to hold this long enough to get home and use the bathroom at home? Or if you're worried about, I have to wait until class starts because I don't want anybody else in the bathroom. So then now I'm taking myself out of the educational environment to use a bathroom. Like, we have to prioritize and we have to choose, what hills are we going to die on and what things can we put in place that help solve situations before they ever even become a situation. And that's what we're really looking at.
Mm-hmm. The question.
Also from Ms. Taylor, the elementary bunker has potential for gardens as well. Healthy food equals healthy brain.
That is correct. And that's something, we're trying to put together a plan, because when I came here, there was gardens at the middle school that were just left gone. There was gardens at Bunker that just weren't being used or overgrown. That's what I don't want to happen, right? I don't want it to be the passion of one person. Then 2 years down the road, it becomes blightful, right?
Yeah.
So what are we going to do and how can we partner with it? Right now, we partner with kids from college, and they come in and they do a foods program with all of our middle schoolers. And that's a collaboration with us and a couple of different groups. Those are the things that are long lasting, because it's not about me. It's not about one person or a teacher or a person that's passionate about it. You're building a system, and a system outlives the people in it because it's more than just one person as part of the system.
Okay, let's go through, because she has a lot of questions, but she will go ahead.
Thanks for the clarification. My son had a chair taken away from him in the classroom because he needed to use the bathroom.
And
Does the board reach out to the community for volunteering?
And one more.
And would the school implement a gardening class? Let's talk about
Okay.
volunteering in the gardening class first.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the gardening class real quick. I really think that if we can get that passion around there, that's something that, yes, we could do that. One of the things that we're doing as a district, especially at the secondary level, 6 through 12, is we're encouraging teachers to do what's called passion projects.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a garden passion project.
Mm-hmm.
We have to use the resources around us, and we need to partner with our community more. As we move toward this academic model, we already have 75 businesses and the Chamber of Commerce lined up to support us as we go through this, doing internships and externships with our students and staff, so that we can prepare them and give them experiences that take them to into the actual working environment that they would be at.
Mm-hmm.
Community volunteering, I'm assuming, like, is the board reaching out to the community to get volunteers into the school? Definitely. I hear my board members talking to people all the time. My board is really helping us and pushing us, because our PTOs, where are they? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to use a current example that's going to be a challenge for us tonight. We have a home football game. Our orchestra runs the north end zone concession stand, and our band runs the south end zone concession stand. They've got 3 or 5 people. That's it.
Ooh.
Like, we don't have all these alumni that are part of the band. I want to activate them, not just on homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be part of the band boosters. I want to have them show these kids this is not a one-time deal. This is a lifetime of experience.
Exactly.
This is a lifetime of relationships that you're creating.
Right.
The problem is I don't have it right now. I don't have strong PTOs. We've taken funding and gotten grants, and we've put a parent teacher organizer employee dedicated to that, the parent liaison, at every one of our schools. And we are working hard, and we're getting like single digits of parents. We have to get them back into the education. And I know people are busy, and I know that it's hard. But the problem is, we're not asking for money. We're asking for your most precious resource, time. Absolutely.
How important, you talked about this, and I saw, being a coach there and being cooking in the kitchen, um, watching kids when they come down to healthy food, um, eat all the stuff and take all the apples and throw them away. I mean, yeah, but how important is it that family members realize that it is important that parenting is done at home and not expect teachers to be parents?
I think that we have to have our parents as part of our partnerships. It is a base model that has to exist because that's where we're going to find success. We can't parent a child. We can give them the rules, we can give them our expectations, but the challenge becomes we need to be a team. It takes a village, and people say it all the time, but we have to start living it, right? We have to start making it so that our kids see our parents placing value on the school, every one of our parents, placing value on schooling, placing value on the school, respecting staff and teachers. When you and I were growing up and the school called, my mom used to just smack me. She wouldn't even listen to what was on the phone, right? Because I did something wrong. What did I do? Well, and that has turned. Now there's a phone call home. It's what did you do to my kid?
Yeah.
It's that presumption I talked about earlier. We have to presume that we're doing good things.
Well, I wanted to talk about a little bit. I remember when if it was 1:00 and if you were walking home and you walked past Mrs. Jenkins' house and she said, "Why are you out? I got kicked out of school." You had to deal with Mrs. Jenkins, Mrs. Newsom, Mrs. Chambers, Mr. all that kind of stuff, and then they jacked you up. And then when you got home, then you had to go back and apologize. In other words, that tribalism is gone of people watching out for the kids, and we need that to return.
You're right. And what are we doing as a school? Where are our helping hands? You guys remember that program?
Mm-hmm.
Parents could register with the school and they would get a poster of a helping hand and they could put it in the front window of their house. And if a kid's in trouble, they can go to that house and they know that house is a safe house.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to come back to that, right?
Right.
We have to come back to, we have grannies and grandpas in our elementary classrooms, and that's tremendous. And it helps us and it builds relationships and it helps our kids go through, but it can't stop there. We have to build our community back around our schools. And I don't have the answers for that. If I did, I wouldn't be a superintendent. I'd be selling it, man, and making a lot of money. But I just know that it's going to take a community coming together, and it's going to take expectations, not just from a school, but expectations from parent to parent and parent toward the school, and expressing those and helping us to achieve them.
6 minutes left, people. We got a ton of questions, so we're going to try to get to them real fast.
Karen Theus, when will this alternate schedule?
Oh, sorry.
When will this alternate schedule AB days go back to the regular schedule? Will Muskegon Public Schools ever go back to the pre-COVID start and end time?
So part of the reason that we did the AB schedule is, and we've talked with our kids, and it is a lot less pressure on our kids around homework and achievement and worrying about how many tests do I have today, things of that nature. The AB schedule actually is longer block time, which allows us to bring in more project-based learning opportunities. It will allow us to bring in at the high school more internship opportunities and outward experience opportunities. As far as like the pre-COVID and the shorter day, we're still in the infancy of what we're doing. And what we're doing is every student takes one course that's online, and we call it an achievement hour. What that does is it does shorten the day a little bit, but it also gives us the ability, like our Wednesday early dismissal days. It gives me the ability for about an hour and a half a week to actually get all of my staff into some type of professional development or school improvement work on a weekly basis. And when you talk about wanting educational change, that's what we have to do, right? That's where we have to, a curriculum doesn't teach a kid. A curriculum is no different than a wrench, right? It's a tool, it's a toolbox. We have to help our teachers make that connection with kids and to teach the kids. And the more we can support them, the better we're going to do as an educational institution.
Another question. I mean, they're flying fast and we're running out of time.
Okay.
Where would parents go if parents want to become more involved with the schools, where should they go?
Go to the main office of your school and just tell them, what do you need me to do? How can I help? Go to your band person and say, how do I join the boosters? Go to your orchestra person. How do I join the boosters? Anything. Join the athletic association. Join the Big Red Ed Fund. There's a ton of things that you can do. Just ask and we'll find you. Just go to a front office and we'll make it happen.
I do want to say something about vocational education. We hear a lot about that now. Tell us something about vocational education and where the school system is with that.
The public school system in the state of Michigan acted criminally for a number of years when they always said everybody goes to college. Our voc ed, that's the reason I referenced earlier 6 through 10 career exploration center, because I want kids to know every option they have. And right now they don't. Right now our kids learn about college, university, or street or work. They don't learn about skilled trades. They don't learn about these things. When our kids, like we have the county-wide system at the Career Tech Center, our kids go there. A lot of our kids don't last there. Why don't our kids last there? They're not comfortable. They don't know what they want to do. And so they're guessing when they go in 11th grade, instead of making a choice, they're just taking a guess. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I don't. And so they're wasting time that other kids are able to get because they have that pre-exposure.
Mr. Cortez, you have to come back on the show. I have like 10 questions that I didn't even get a chance to get to. But I have to say, one of the things that you guys did, which was a great move with the athletes, you guys added a counselor before you were there. That's when I was there, to make sure that the athletes were up to date in every aspect. And that ended up more kids getting scholarships and going to school. Was one of the most brilliant moves that you guys did.
So, Mr. Roberts, when you talk about that move, that's what we're doing with academies. Because that student for 3 years will be part of that academy, and those adults will wrap themselves around them like the counselor can with a smaller number of athletes, right? So the academies are going to break the school into basically, hopefully, four pretty equal parts. So now I can wrap an entire academy of teachers, administrators, and advisors around a smaller group of kids and get a more effective rate. That's the hope.
Okay. If anybody wants to talk to you, there was a question. If they want to talk to you about anything, how do they get in touch with you?
You can email me at mcortez@mpsk12.net. You can call my office. It's 720-2004. Or, if you come to a game or something of that nature, I'm usually at a lot of football games. I'm at a lot of baseball games. During the wintertime, I'm in and out of the athletics. So you can ask any employee for help getting a hold of me. We
got to schedule you to get you back on the show.
Definitely. And the other thing is, I think I want to start this year, and I'm going to work toward it hopefully quickly here, to start to set up soup time. And by soup time, it'll be time where I will make myself available and in an open space that's welcoming, in order for people to just come sit down and have a chat over. I don't drink coffee. I drink soda or water. So over a soda or over coffee or whatever in a local area, hopefully. And I'm going to start trying to organize that, kind of like what FDR did with fireside chats.
Right.
So definitely give me some dates. I mean, not right now, but shoot me some dates in the next for the next week or two, and I'll pick a time that you guys are able to get me on, and we'll get together and we'll continue this conversation.
Lady
think
J,
it's
you
huge.
heard that. Get him back on immediately because we got like question after question after question, and there's things that we didn't that you have to adjust. Mr. Cortez, thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you.
show today.
It is my pleasure, and I love it. It is a tremendous honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Cortez, Superintendent of Muskegon Public Schools. People, thank you for flooding the boards with questions. We didn't get a chance to get to all of your questions, but there are a lot more, and we're going to get them on as soon as we can. Pastor Burns, any last words before we end?
No, hey, reach out to the superintendent if you got questions. Don't just run to a board meeting.
Go,
Get your questions answered.
go to the board meeting. And there was another thing somebody asked about. They never heard of a PTO. If you never heard of a PTO, there's a problem.
If your students are in school, you never heard of PTO, big problem.
Big problem. Okay, as we always end the show, we say, listen, go and sow a seed in somebody's life. You never know who you're touching. There was another shooting, another 2 shootings the other day. And you know what? The kids could have been touched. Kids are going to get attention one way or another. It's going to be good attention or bad intention. And you can make attention. Go sow that seed in somebody's life. Take care. And man, we need people to volunteer at these games. Take care and God bless. I'll see you, brother, next week.
All right, brother. We'll see you next week.